Howdy, folks. How we doing out there in the great lands of lands? Welcome to the MCU's Bleeding Edge. We are live Friday night, 10/17, to discuss the 1998 film Enemy of the State, which is an American political action thriller film, and of course is directed by the late, great Tony Scott. If you don't know who Tony Scott was, he directed quite a few great films in his time before his untimely death in 2012. He was a really great director, and it's too bad he has not graced us with anything in over a decade now. He is absolutely fantastic as a director of this, I felt, and I think it's just a really well-rounded film. Great cast, produced, of course, by Jerry Bruckheimer, written by David Marconi. Of course, stars Will Smith in his beginning heyday. We got also John Voight, Regina King, Jake Busey, Barry Pepper, Gabriel Byrne, Jack Black, Lisa Bonet. I mean, anybody is in this film. This was also, I think, one of Jason Robards' last films around that time. He passed away, I think, 2 years later in 2000. So this was like one of his last films. But yeah, really great cast. So just going around the panel here, just want to ask, is this your first time viewing, or have you viewed this film before? And just kind of your overall thoughts on your first watch, or whatever you first watched it. And I'll start with you, Andreas.
Oh, yeah. Hello. Yes. No, it's not my first time watching this film. I've seen bits of this here and there on TV. So, but today was like the full-on, like, watch it in full completion. And in my household, we were big fans of Tony Scott films. I mean, Man on Fire, great film. So I was very excited to see another Tony Scott film. And this did not disappoint. And of course, this is, the late, great Gene Hackman starting here. So it was great to review this with you guys. So yeah, not first time watching this.
All right. Jeff, same question, sir.
Yeah, I've seen the movie multiple times. Because it came out in like the in the peak '90s, when I was watching movies then. So yeah, I saw it on HBO several times. And it was popular when it came out. One of the last solid Gene Hackman appearances that that we saw. There towards the end with Gene Hackman. With him having like a big role, like in the movie, you know what I'm saying? This was like one of his last, big ones. But yeah, it was a good watch. I enjoyed it. Tony Scott is always good. Jerry Bruckheimer, all that good stuff, right? So yeah, very entertaining. Very, like Cyber said, very well cast. Across the board, really well cast, with all the secondary actors, really well cast for that time period, you know what I'm saying? Like Seth Green, Barry Pepper, right in there, peak, you know what I'm saying? Basically, right? Jack Black, kind of in their peak almost. Of viability as actors, kind of right in the beginning of their viability. So they had a pretty no name sort of cast, but they had a good cast. And the story is pretty solid. It's for its time, for the late '90s, being one of these internet, spy, friend, surveillance, type films or whatever, this was one of the first big ones that I ever saw, yeah, it's a very, very entertaining movie.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. So just to kind of, refresh everyone of who's on the panel here, we, of course, have Andres, the pop culture guy, also who goes by Time Cop, Time Lord, Toxic Avenger, many other names. We shall remain to your imagination. And how are we doing tonight, Mr. Pop Culture Guy?
Very well. Very excited. So
excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. And of course, I can't forget my trusty co-host, Mr. Jeff S. TrueKnowledge. How are we doing tonight, Jeff?
Fabulous, sir. Just wonderful.
Eh,
Just absolutely wonderful to be here, sir.
Good to know. Good to know. All right, folks. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about Enemy of the State, which is a 1998 film. It was released on November 20th, 1998. Has a runtime of 132 minutes. Was made for a budget of 90 million and ended up being a box office smash with 250.8 million in 1998. So I think that's pretty impressive for this type of film at the time. You know, a lot of those films didn't usually gross this much, and I think this one was a box office powerhouse. So I think that's really great. It was funny to think that was released alongside the Rugrats movie that was released that same year. If you know who the Rugrats are, it was a big cartoon in the late 90s. You know what I'm talking about. But it's funny to think that it went up against, that's what it was going up against at the time for, theater dominance, which I think is pretty funny. It's funny to think that this movie has a 71% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 6.44 average score. I think that's, very fair. I think this is a really well done film. I think, that it's in the heyday of those great 90s films that are just action packed and really fun. Great bad guys, great heroes, all that kind of.
Oh yeah, the pacing of the film is really like top notch. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like really go the whole movie.
Very much so. Very true. All right, so getting into the film, Congressman Phil Hammersley opposes a proposed counterterrorism bill that would significantly expand surveillance powers for American intelligence agencies, arguing that it poses a threat to civil liberties. In response, NSA Assistant Director Thomas Reynolds, who supports the bill and stands to benefit professionally from its passage, orders Hammersley assassination. His team stages the murder as a fatal car accident brought on by a heart attack. So we'll stop there because I think that is a big chunk right at the beginning there. It gives you this big, awesome kind of like starting point. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on that whole interaction with John Boyd and Jason Robards. And what do you think of Jason Robards as a actor? Did you like him? Did you think he was good at this scene? What did you think about John Boyd? And kind of what was your thoughts on kind of that opening sequence that really boosts us into the film? And I'll start with you, Jeff.
Well, I mean, it's really kind of like, there's not that much there really, like overall, like for a scene, you know what I'm saying? Like not that much occurs, like other than the fact that they have that like political conversation, obviously on the bench, you know what I'm saying? Where they talk or whatever, you know what I mean? And we know how that kind of goes, and where that leaves things. I mean, it's obviously like a powerful opening scene because clearly they're killing the guy like right off the bat initially, like bam, you know what I mean? Like they're straight killing this guy, you know what I mean? We don't know who the main dude is yet, but like John Voight's like the main like villain, and he's great as a villain too. I like John Voight as a villain. He's good. But he's great right off the bat. And they don't know that it's on video, obviously, at that point. We don't know it yet either, but we'll find out obviously soon, right? So,
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Awesome. Now going over to you, Mr. Toxic Avenger. What are your thoughts on that opening sequence?
Toxic Avenger, Toxic Lord, sir. But no. The beginning was really good. It really sets up everything about the intrigue, the kind of reason why the villain is gonna go after Will Smith's character later on, which we'll get into. This was a very efficient, political opening for like this type of film, and I really like it. The actor who plays the congressman is a really great actor. I think I see him in one movie. I'm trying to find his name in IBBN because I know I saw him somewhere. But John Boyd, he's a great actor. If you've seen many of his films, he's amazing. He's a great villain for this film. And he's very consistent with his performance. And this opening is just so good. I like political thrillers. So I think right away, you're right in the right mood. This intrigue of like the murder of the conscious man who was opposed of this bill that, throughout the film we hear about, the idea of like having more like spread of the surveillance against the American people and all that. And for a time, that's something became real, and it's a hot topic later on in the mid 2000s. So I was very surprised that this time of the decade they were even talking about that. So so I think this opening was really well directed, just got you into the mood of like the tone and like the kind of film you are in this film for Tony Scott. And and the performances are great in the beginning. No other person could be a great villain like John Boyd, so I think they did a good job casting. Some of the actors I recognize, that one guy that did kill the constant man, of course he's from Saving Private Ryan. If you know him,
Barry Pepper.
Yeah, Barry Pepper, that was great. I saw him recently in this horror movie called Crow, which is a great one. He's a great character there as the dad. And then you got the goth, was it Scott Kane, who's great too. Oh, he comes later, but yeah, there are a couple of actors I will point out. They're great. But yeah, love this opening. Just got me into the right mood.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Really, I agree. Great opening too. I mean, right off the bat, it's, I think it's great how evil we see how John Boyd is. And I think that's really great. And I think that was a really great performance by, Jason Robards. And he did a really great job too. Yeah. All right. So moving on. Meanwhile, labor lawyer Robert Clayton Dean becomes unwittingly entangled in the conspiracy. Dean is working on a case involving racketeer Paulie Pintero, leveraging a videotape obtained through a surveillance contact only as Brill to course a favorable settlement. At the same time, wildlife biologist Daniel Zavitz discovers footage of Hammersley's murder captured by a remote camera. Reynolds sends his men after him in a chance encounter. Zavitz discreetly slips the incriminating video disc into Dean's shopping bag before getting struck and killed in traffic. Reynolds' team finds Dean's business card and Zavitz's corpse, and Reynolds assumes that he knows about the tape. So we'll stop there. I think that's quite a good chunk too there. That gets us even more into it. It involves finally Will Smith in it. We get to see, several great actors and actors here in this section. Of course, we got the late great what's his name? I'm totally blanking on it right this second.
Jason Lee.
No.
Oh no.
No, I'm thinking of he's still alive. What's his name? Jesus. Tom Sizemore. We get to see Tom Sizemore in this section. He's really interesting. He's fun to watch in this. We get introduced to, kind of Will Smith's character and kind of who he is. We briefly get to see Lisa Bonet in this section. And I think that it's a really fun sequence. And then, of course, Jason Lee's sequence where he ends up flipping up the tape and getting killed is really awesome. So I think it's a really good section. In my opinion, I really enjoyed it. I think it's very entertaining. And I think that it moves the film along quite well. So going to you, Mr. Pop Culture Guy, what are your thoughts on that section?
Yeah, so this section is pretty good. Very intense when you get into the Jason Lee chase. Like, that is very, Tony Scott level of action. Like, he does, just like Michael Bay, all those quick cuts. And, it's really cool how they, visualize the action with the multiple, surveillance of, following this one particular character is really cool. For this budget, 90 million, it totally makes sense how expensive this is because they're using so much of these technology. We see so many times in the film the satellite where it zooms in this particular area where our characters were standing or whatnot is really cool. But yeah, I did remember this beginning part. because I saw like halfway through the part where Jason Lee is running away from these like what's this group like NSA agents? Yeah, NSA agents. They were like trying to stop him from copying the footage that saw the murder of the congressman. And so I was like, oh boy, this is really like crazy. And I can't believe it. They kill him and kill his friend who was like this like left wing political writer or something like that. In the dialogue, I was like, wow, they're really going far to like stop this like footage to be released. But yeah, Will Smith, he's not my favorite actor, but there's some roles I really like, and I think this is his best role. He's not playing like too much of himself, but like he's still charismatic, which is good. And him being a family man is relatable, so I can like sympathize him what's going to happen to him later on in the film when we get into it, because it's kind of crazy what they do to his like reputation and all that to like take him down, because they think he knows about this like videotape that like reveals about the murder that the John Boyd character did. But yeah, so as always, I'm not a computer geek, so it's kind of interesting to see like the hard disk from the '90s, instead of those like round ones that we had like in the 2000s. So that's very very nostalgia factor to me. And Jason Lee, I totally forgot he was in this movie. He's a great actor. I wish he was more in this movie. It was funny to see the other comedic actors here, like besides Jason Lee, like Jack Black is in here. Jamie Kennedy and what else? Seth Green. Like you have all those three comedians in this one movie, and this series thing is kind of crazy. Just blowing my mind. Jamie Kennedy and Seth Green together in one room, that could have been comedy gold for another movie. But anyway, so it's really cool to see all those actors. And here we see who is it? Is it who's the actor that's the son? What is it? From Predator 2. You know what I'm talking about, Saber? Predator 2, that crazy bad scientist. I forget the name, but like we got Scott Kane there. I recognize him from Hawaii Five-O. Of course, he's the son of the actor from The Godfather. Not D King, but his father is well known from The Thief, and of course the first two part of the Godfather films.
You mean James Caan?
James Caan, thank you.
Yes, Scott Caan.
Yeah, and Scott Caan, I know. And then the other fella next to him is not Bruce, Gibbs, someone I'll find out later. But yeah, so another recognizable actors here that from the mid '90s. Of course, they have big long careers. But yeah, after Jason meets up Will Smith in that crazy exotic shop, for him trying to find some like hot bra and underwear for his wife is very funny. And him stopping dropping that like Playboy thing with the disc is okay, makes sense. And then that whole chase was really spectacular, and him getting killed was very brutal. Like I can't believe it. But yeah, so that beginning part is really like intense, very thrilling. You see the stakes, for this like disc, like the disc, this I say the tape of the murder is like the MacGuffin for the film. I was like, okay, I understand that. And throughout the film, it's still important throughout the film. And and Will Smith, who is a great actor, I don't particularly like him as an actor, but he's really good in this movie, and I'm very excited when we get into Gene Hackman, because he's like the highlight for me for this film. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, going over to you, Jeff. Your thoughts, sir, on the section of the introduction of Will Smith, and and then of course the chase scene with Jason Lee ending up in his demise.
Yeah, his death is really fucking brutal, man. Like he really gets like fucking annihilated there at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like like they make it they don't make it look as bad as it should have looked in real life. You know what I mean? Because it shouldn't look bad. You know, because the way he got hit by that truck, like that was no joke. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's obviously like a really important element to the film now that like this guy, you know, created this tape, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, created this copy and, you know, gave it to Will Smith's character now, you know what I mean? But like did it like incognito, you know, to where Will Smith doesn't even know he has it, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's very impactful, obviously, you know what I mean? You know, so you know, I mean, you know, unfortunately, I feel like this is a pretty solid Will Smith film, but I feel like the dialogue is a little bit clunky at times in the film. Like not like, you know, it's just not like real like hip or like, you know, like or just doesn't hit right sometimes, some of the dialogue. Yeah, you know, they like, you know, they cast Regina King or whatever, right? To play the wife. What's her name, right?
Yeah, Regina King.
Yeah. So there you go. You know, like she's a talented actress, you know what I'm saying? So she's hot too. Regina King. But yeah, so yeah, it's cool seeing that, like him being a lawyer and all that shit, you know, and like doing all the lawyer stuff and all that, you know. Like I dig that part. I like lawyer stuff, you know, so that's cool that he's a lawyer, you know. Yeah, like you know, it's a good opening premise for the film. Like it starts off good. It's a good opening.
All right, thank you, sir. Excellent. Great job. All right, everyone gets 1 billion points. Great answers, great things. Yes, love it. Yes, and I agree with the whole videotape thing, sir. I agree. All right, so moving on. So NSA agents posing as police officers attempt to enter Dean's home without a warrant. When Dean blocks them, the agents break in and plant surveillance devices in his clothes and his personal effects. They also fabricate evidence linking him to money laundering and an affair with Rachel Banks, an ex-girlfriend and Brill's courier. As a result, Dean loses his job, has his bank accounts frozen by the IRS, and is kicked out by his wife, Carla. Desperate, Dean calls Rachel to get in touch with Brill. The NSA intercept the call and send in imposters, but the real Brill intervenes. Brill, revealed to be Edward Lyle, a former NSA communication expert in hiding, removes the bugs on Dean's person and reveals the NSA's involvement. When Rachel is later found murdered, Dean and Lyle locate the original disk and identify Reynolds as the mastermind. However, their hideout is raided, the disk is destroyed, and they are forced to flee. So we'll stop there. Quite a bit there, I feel. You know, basically the whole kind of like start of Will Smith's kind of downfalling into this craziness. We get finally introduced to Gene Hackman's character, Brill. We get, you know, all this kind of craziness. We see him, you know, his wife kicking him out. We see him like losing his job, all this kind of stuff. You know, we see all kind of the bits and pieces. We find out, you know, about what's going on, who's really behind everything, and all this kind of stuff. And then, of course, we see the death of course, Lisa Bonet. So what are your guys' thoughts on this section? What do you think about all of it? What did you think about the introduction of Gene Hackman? And just overall your thoughts on this portion of the film. And I'll start with you, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, killing off Lisa Bonet's character off so early in the film, like really hits, you know, like because like she's a pretty good character, like so far up to that point, you know what I mean? So it's unfortunate to lose her, you know, but obviously it's like a big emotional, like, you know, high note, you know, for like the, you know, well, the Will Smith's character, you know, in the movie, you know what I'm saying, you know, and like really evokes a lot of emotions for him. He's on the run now at that point. You know what I mean? Like, you know, having figured out what he's got to do to like separate himself from like the government, you know, tracking and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You know, you know, it's a solid section of the episode. I mean, you're getting more and more of like the, you know, the NTSB people, like, you know, like doing their jobs, like, you know, following people, you know, doing their jobs, you know, making Will Smith's life really hard. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, you know, turning off all his money. You know what I mean? You know, basically forcing him to where he's got to like, you know, like lose everything that he has, all right down to his pants, to be able to get away from like, you know, being trapped, right? But he hooks up with Gene Hackman's character, and he's a good character. I like him in the film, you know. It's not surprising that there's like some resistance there at first, you know, but like, you know that like Gene Hackman's character will like accept Will Smith's character, you know, by the end of the day, you know what I mean? You know, so like, yeah, it's a solid section. It's very important, you know. Her death's really important, and you know, obviously really personal to like Will Smith's character, and he still doesn't know that he has the MacGuffin, you know. So right, so like you know, at this point, so you know, and the audience are kind of like just wait for him to kind of like figure out like, that what he has, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, besides, you know, oh, that's pretty much it. Just that actress is look was really fine looking in that role. Whatever her name is, I forget her name.
That's Zoe
Lisa
Kravitz's
Bonet.
mom. Yeah.
Lisa Bonet. Yeah, she was looking fine.
Good to know. Good to know. All right. Going over to you, Mr. Andreas. Your thoughts on that section, sir?
Yes. Yes. We all think Rachel is hot. It's fine. I mean, her hairdo is like, oh my god, pitch perfect. But yeah, it was crazy to realize that was Zoe Kravitz's mom and, you know, former wife of Jason Momoa. She did a really good job. I didn't know she was an actress. I thought she was like, I don't know, singer or something like that. But so yeah, she did a good part in her small part. Yeah, her death was like kind of sad, and I was like very disgusted that the NSA was trying to like frame him that he killed her. You know, what's planning the like the wardrobe and all that in the house. So that was pretty awful. So I was like hoping he was like gonna get them at you know, get them, you know, for their crimes, whatnot, which they do, which I was happy towards the end of the film. Man, Gene Hackman, he's such a great actor. I knew he was in this movie. He's another regular, like, you know, great actor in cinema. It's very sad he passed this year. And yeah, he did not disappoint. It was so cool to like, because throughout the, you know, like what, like 40 minutes or 50 minutes, whatever, like almost halfway through the movie, it's like you'd be hearing about this character named BRIO, and it's like, why am I going to see him? You know, because I know that's Gene Hackman's character, and yeah, it paid off very well. Like first you thought it was, by the way, great cast, like huge name actors. The guy who's the fake BRIO, Gabriel Bryan, he's a great actor. You know, he's in a lot of films. You recognize him in Ballerina as the main villain. He's a very good actor. So him being, you know, the fake one was kind of interesting. And then you see this random card coming out, and yeah, that was cool. And then you see Gene Hackman right away, and then it's like, oh, that's him. And then he pulls the gun, and then you see how smart and like, you know, how you say, like sophisticated he is, like knowing about the like the you know the tap wires and the you know the what do you call it, the homing device track, you know, things that the NSA are like have him with all the gizmos and all that, and to see him stripping it down away from, you know, Will Smith is like really cool. And yeah, you know, he doesn't want to get involved with this because like you know, because Will doesn't know like what he has, you know, throughout the film. So like he doesn't know about the surveillance of the murdered, right? So you know, he's lost too. And this sequence is so intense, very like, paranoid, and the action leading to Will Smith, streaming his. Oh, by the way, very funny. The two Chinese couple like thought he was like he was like a male stripper was funny. He's like, oh, like the wife was feeling some money. It was funny as hell, and then. And then him escaping, getting rid of all the devices that was like tracking him. That was good. He was smart about that. And and then we get this cool chase in the tunnels. That's really like Tony Scott, which is really well executed, and all that, which is nice. And and then the actor I was missing was Jake Busey. That was the actor I was thinking about. He's here in this section. Who's like his father, of course, is Gary Busey. That was the actor I was thinking about. I totally couldn't remember his last name. We see a couple of these like NSA agents trying to chase Will Smith, and this high intensity is like really well done. This guy is so good at action scenes. If you haven't seen films like Man on Fire or Top Gun or Beverly Hills Cop 2 and not Black Wing, that's his brother, but like his other action, thriller films, it's so well shot, and you totally see that in this section here. And I think, I don't know, we meet like John Boyd's wife, because right, Cyber, because like his wife.
Yeah.
Okay, we meet his wife, and then I was laughing. If you haven't seen Breaking Bad, I was like, oh, that's the wife for Breaking Bad. She's the wife of this bad guy. I was laughing at it so hard. If you haven't seen the AMC like Breaking Bad, that's Brian Cox's wife, who like deals with the laundry money and all that. But yeah, so I really dug this sequence. Really sad that the Rachel character dies, and it was really awful what they did. It was crazy how far they were like going to destroy his reputation. Telling about this affair, and then and this whole thing was pretty shocking. So this section was like really like, oh my god, just testing out my my adrenaline. So like I love this section of the movie when we get to Gene Hackman.
Excellent, sir. Thank you. Good job. Both of you. Oh my goodness, you guys are just too good. Too good. Yeah, I mean, I think that this section, is probably a really one of the best portions of the film, simply because we get introduced to Gene Hackman's character Brill, whose name is Edward Lyle. And that is absolutely fantastic. Like, Gene Hackman rocks it out. He's so cool. He's so awesome. He's like, you're such an idiot. What, you're bugged and all this shit. It is really awesome. And then, of course, everything that gets done to Will Smith at this point, too, is like fucked up. You're just like, damn, man, the NSA is really fucking him up. And you're just like, wow, making him lose his wife, making him lose his job, prison his bank accounts and all this stuff. And you're just like, holy shit, this is some real deal shit. And then, of course, Lisa Bonet being killed. You're just kind of like, oh, that's too bad. You were like hoping to see more of her, throughout the film. But, unfortunately, they killed her. And then he's like blamed for the murder. And you're just like, oh shit, so it's like just more to add to his, his thought process. And, basically them are forced to flee, after everything. So I think that's, done really well. I really enjoyed it. All right. So Lyle reveals his past. He once worked in Iran during the revolution and escaped after his partner, Rachel's father, was killed. He now lives off the grid. While Lyle urges Dean to disappear, Dean insists on exposing Reynolds. They record Congressman Sam Albert, a supporter of the surveillance bill, in a compromising situation, then manipulate Reynolds into believing he is being blackmailed. They lure him into a meeting under the pretense of trading the tape. So we'll stop there and talk a little bit about that section. I think that this is a good section too. I think it's done well. I think there's a lot to it. I think that it's overall fun. I think this is a good, part, kind of gives you more of, John Boyd's thought process and all this kind of stuff. And I think it's really cool. And it just really shows the great bad guy he plays. And, of course, we get more into, kind of who Lyle is and basically kind of, discovering kind of his past and kind of what led him to where he is, and, kind of like his thought process, and also kind of like how he is, what he is, because, you know, he's a former, you know, NSA person. So he knows every nook and cranny of what they're going to do before they even do it. So it kind of gives you that nice background to kind of realize, oh, this is why he's so great, why BRIO is so cool, and all this kind of stuff. So I think this is a really great portion, you know, luring Reynolds into that, you know, meeting under a pretense of trading the tape. So I think it's really fun and interesting. So what are your guys' thoughts on that section? I'll start with you, Andreas. What did you think?
This turns this section I really like, because you see the turn of the movie into more of like a buddy cop kind of formula. So you see your two protagonists, they're completely different people, and you know, Will Smith and Gene Hackman had great chemistry. Like I mean, you think about, you know, buddy, you know, like team ups. I never expected team up for Will Smith and Gene Hackman, and I thought it really worked well. Like, they have funny moments, which I love, and you know, the whole cat thing, which is hilarious, and you know, learning more about Edward's background is really cool, and you know, the fact that he knew Rachel's father that like saved him, you know, during the war, that's really cool, and like it's really neat to see that he knows about like the in and out of the NSA and all the like surveillance techniques and like the technology they have currently, because, you know, he was part of that. So that's really neat. You could totally see like, oh, this is how good he is, because he's been part of that, and that really works. And I
All right. Thank you, sir. Good job. All right. Moving over to you, Jeff. What are your thoughts on that section, sir?
Yeah,
Oh,
you know,
Andres is Iceman.
yeah, it appears he is. You know,
I
sorry,
don't.
Andres is trying to get in there. All right, so yeah, I mean, it's a good build up, you know. Andres, do you want to get back in there? Are you back, sir?
Yes, I'm back.
You gonna
Okay,
finish
good.
you gonna finish your thought? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Just very quickly, good section. We got to know about, you know, Edward and his background and all that. What was I saying? Oh, I just briefly, there's like a funny trivia if you pay attention. I do agree with Cyber about John Voight. He's doing everything he can to like understand the situation. When they got the picture of Edward, you know, fully, and like they learn more about him. The picture is from another movie called The Conversation, great 1974 classic Francis Ford Coppola film, where that deals with, you know, surveillance, and, you know, what we're talking about in this movie is similar to that, and a lot of film people talked about how this is like a spiritual sequel to that. So it was cool to see that, you know, like funny, you know, photo from another movie from Gene Hackman's great filmography. But yeah, love this section. Learn more about, you know, Edward, which is cool. A little more, you know, funny moments from these characters, and you know, him carrying about Rachel is another neat emotional resonance with that character, which is good. So that's all I have to say.
Okie dokie, sir. Thank you. Now over to you, Jeff, sir. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So yeah. So back what I was going to say was just that, yeah, it's great seeing you know, more of the background information. You know, like you know, getting more of the backstory, you know, for characters and stuff like that, right? Seeing what, you know, what Gene Hackman's character can do, you know, like BRIO can do, you know, like with his abilities and his skills and stuff like that. You know, once him and Will Smith get out there, you know, getting after it, you know, getting their shit going. You know what I mean? You know, it's I like you know, seeing Will Smith like go back home and like, you know, see his wife, you know, and she's wearing like the lingerie that he had bought for Christmas, you know. She was wearing it. She was looking fine. And you know, I really enjoyed that scene, him coming home briefly, you know, and that's how he gets the device, gets the copy of the video and everything, you know. And it's cool seeing, like, you know, everybody having to live off the grid, like Will Smith and like, Gene Hackman's character are completely off the grid the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, having to like, stay like ahead of like the FSA, which is tough, in this movie, right? To stay ahead of them. It's a really impactful, entertaining part of the film, obviously you see like what, how big of a deal this is to like, John Voight's character, you know what I'm saying? Like, this could like end his career, you know what I'm saying? The decision to like go do the meet, for like the tape is a good decision, to try to draw John Voight out, is smart.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, sir. So I wanted to ask, do you think that this is one of Gene Hackman's best roles? Do you think that his performance should have gotten more recognition for how good he was in this film? Do you think he didn't get enough credit for how good he was as Brill? Starting with you, Jeff.
I mean, I don't really know. I'm trying to think of what else came out that year, like there was a lot of other good stuff that came out that year, so I mean, this was an okay character for Gene Hackman to play. Like I enjoyed him in the film as this character, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't anything like I didn't think it was anything like that impactful, to be honest with you, Cyber.
Okay. Andres?
I think that's kind of tough. I think I could put a mid-tier like role for Jake Hackman because like we already have a great role that's similar to that I mentioned before called The Conversation. That film is much better than that.
This is Will Smith's movie.
Yeah, exactly, and it's also Will Smith's movie as well, as Jeff said before. And there's other great films that Gene like has that are like top 5. Like obviously we review. Well, me and Jeff review Unforgiven. That's a great role from Gene Hackman. The Firm is good. The role of Tenenbaums is like top 3, and of course his role in Lex Luthor. I know people don't like that version, but I like that version of Lex Luthor. And then his first connection role, Jimmy Popeye Doyle is a really iconic one that got him his Oscar. Like I for this role, I think it's a good role. It's definitely top tier, like he has done before and after this movie. So, but I like it. I really enjoy it. But it's a Will Smith show, really. At the end of the day, for me.
All right, excellent, guys. All right, just was curious what you guys thought. All right, so moving on. At the meeting, Dean deceives Reynolds by claiming the tape is hidden at Pintero's restaurant, which is under federal surveillance. Reynolds confronts Pintero, who misinterprets the demand as a threat involving separate evidence. A shootout ensues between the gangsters and NSA agents, leaving most of the participants dead. Lyle screams the confrontation to the FBI, prompting a raid that ends the standoff. Reynolds' involvement is exposed. In the aftermath, the surveillance bill is canceled by American federal legislators. The NSA covers up Reynolds' rogue operation, and Dean is exonerated. He reunites with Carla. Lyle, having escaped again, sends Dean a covert farewell message via television, showing himself enjoying life in a tropical hideaway. All right. So what are your guys' thoughts on kind of the conclusion of the film, the great shootout, the happy kind of ending, Dean gets Carla back, he gets exonerated, Gene Hackman gets away again, we get Lyle gets Reynolds gets exposed, and of course he's doing this allows Dean to like get 2 birds with 1 stone type of deal. And all that kind of stuff. So what are you guys' thoughts on this last portion of the film, your overall thoughts, and anything else you'd like to say about the film? And I'll start with you, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, a lot happens, obviously, like, they both get caught, and like, Will Smith has to make the decision to, like, have them be taken to the Italian restaurant, like, the mob boss's place, you know what I mean? That shootout was just too convenient, you know what I'm saying? Like, the way that went down was just too convenient, It just takes everybody out, but Will Smith walks away just fine, you know what I mean? Like, like, okay. But hey, it works out, and it kills off all the the bad characters, basically, right? So, like, that's a good thing, for the good guys, right? And Gene Hackman gets to walk away and go do his own thing, and Will Smith gets his life back, right? So, like, it's a win-win for everybody, and everything works out, peachy keen for everybody. And what's his name? Brill, sends the messages through his TV at the end, showing him like on an island or whatever, and I thought that was like a nice touch, you know what I mean? And I like how it fades out on the satellite in space, at the end too, you know what I mean? That was cool. But yeah, overall, it was a solid movie, very entertaining, good ending, very solid, very high, like high tension, very fast paced, rat-a-tat-tat, type of movie, very good energy, high energy film, you know what I mean? But still, some of the dialogue sometimes I just felt like I didn't care for some of it at times. That's my one critique.
Okay. Excellent. All right, Mr. Pop Culture Guy, your thoughts on the conclusion of the film?
Yeah, it's a entertaining ending, very satisfying. It like wraps up in a very fun and conclusive way. Wraps up nicely. I do agree with Jeff that I mean, it was a good payoff to the restaurant because from the beginning of the movie, the pretend is like, look, brother, I'm gonna get you, So what's your bet? I'm gonna hurt your family and all that, like that typical Italian mafia thing. It's like, okay, and yeah, it was kind of cool that Will was playing smart and like tricked them to go to this place and like presumably get killed, which that happened. It was a good payoff from the beginning. But it was kind of convenient, as Jeff said before. It was kind of convenient and like kind of ridiculous that these guys were not knowing that he's a lawyer and like he has dealt with like a mafia. It's kind of crazy. But hey, he set them up very well. So like, good on you, Will Smith. You were playing smart, and I like that because like throughout the film, Edward, Jiggy Hackman's character has been saying, I don't know, you're smart or stupid. And then I like how towards the end of this action sequence, he's like, huh, you're pretty smart. I love that. That was a good payoff for him. He's constantly, complaining about him and being so stupid in some of this situation what they're in, which is true. And yeah, but man, it was funny. It's just like, you guys have to help me because I was like enjoying the film. But it was kind of funny. It's like, what happened? Scott Kane, like, was so nervous he shot one of the other mafia men, or like one of the cooks had a shotgun and he shot that person. Like it was so weird how all that chaos happened. Like, it was like, oh wow, and then like everyone got shot, like crazy. And I was surprised how Will Smith survived during that like shootout. Like those bullets can easily bounce off of the metal, like they clearly like ricochet and shot him like either a chase or something like that. So I was surprised he, I guess staying under the table and the cloth. I guess that was the safety location from all those crazy shots from all those big guns. But I like how like it was really cool before like the setup. It was kind of cool how they were trying to attract the villains by like having well, first I was laughing hard when the congressman that's like wants this like the bill about surveillance to pass, and like he's having an affair with his like secretary, and like they were taping him. That was funny. And then of course he finds the device that the NCA the N yeah NSA were using against Will Smith. And so that was a good way to like attract the attention. And I love how like John Boy was like scared. It's like, oh, that wasn't my team, because he got confirmed from his people that was their technology. So that was really cool how they were trying to attract bad guys. Um, yeah, and then after that they get captured by John Boy, and oh man, John Boy showing Gene Hackman's hand was kind of crazy. And yeah, I really dug this sequence. Is it contrived? Yeah, but at least it wraps up everything nicely. And then yeah, this ending I remember as a kid. I didn't see bits like I didn't see fully the film. I saw this ending where Will Smith saw the Gene Hackman's character like saying hi to him and where he was at the beach, of course, with his cat, right? I think it was still the cat. Um, and like that was the moment I remember as a kid. I saw that ending, so I knew about the ending. So yeah, great ending, great film. I think this is a enjoyable thriller. I love the performances, great actors in this film, like Major and Meyer, which is crazy, and Tony Scott, great director. I agree with Cyber. It's really a shame uh, that he committed suicide and left the world because he was such a great director, and he did great movies. And of course, I don't know what you guys' favorite is, but my favorite of his is Men on Fire. Like a great film. I mean, Denzel Washington is great, but I like this film too. I think I definitely put this as my third or fifth favorite Tony Scott film.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I mean, I think that this ending is great. Like I said before, I absolutely love it. I think that the shootout is awesome and crazy. And I love that it has like kind of a happy ending to it, which is always nice to see. And that was one thing about the 90s. They always had those really great kind of, happy endings type of deal to these thriller films like that, the person ended up, being the winner and all this kind of stuff. So I think that was great. And I think, at this time in 98, this was, really, Mr. Will Smith's biggest, kind of like, powerhouse of a film. This is really starting to push him out and into the, forte. So I think that, this is one of his better films from the late 90s. But anyways, what is your guys' rating on the film? 1 to 10. I'll start with you, Andreas.
I'll give this a 8.5 out of 10. It's a great film. It's a really good, political like thriller film that exceeds great action, great performances with all the actors we love. I totally be fine to do a remake of this film. I think you could do this story better and like make it a more complex and action heavy film with like more like intrigue. But as the film is I like it. It's a thrilling film, great performances, great humor. The action is great by Tony Scott, and yeah, that's all I have to say for this movie. I really enjoy it. I was very pleasantly surprised for this film. I really dug it tonight. Thank you, Cyber, for picking this movie.
Excellent. I'm glad you enjoyed it, sir, and you're welcome. Jeff, what would you give the film, sir?
I'll give it an 8.5, Cyber. I think that's a solid rating for this film, I think.
Okay. All right. I give it a 10, of course, because it's one of my favorite films. I absolutely love this film. I think it's got a great cast. I loved everybody in it. I think it's from beginning to end is just so enjoyable. And I think that this is like the heyday of Will Smith's, performances. All right.
It's definitely peak Will Smith at that time period, Cyber.
Most definitely. I mean, he was, of course, just did Men in Black the year before. He was still on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He had done, a couple other films in the earlier 90s.
Was he still on Fresh Prince?
Yep, he was just finishing that up.
No shit.
Yep.
First, Fresh Prince ended in 1996, so it was like 2 years after that, sir.
I thought it was 98 that it lasted till.
Yeah, 6 seasons, which is crazy. Yeah, because it started early in 1990, and then
I used to watch that show.
yeah, same here. I used to watch the show as a kid.
Yep.
Most
Great
definitely.
show.
All right. What are we doing, Cyber? Are we doing our plugs?
Let's do our plugs.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Andre's the pop culture guy, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, sure. Well, I just want to thank everyone for joining us tonight on MD State. It was a blast talking about this movie. Thank you, Cyber, for picking this. It was a honor. It was great to talk about another G. Hackman film because me and Jeff did Unforgiven over my channel, so it was good to talk another one. It was great. So, so yesterday I posted my part 4 of the Shadow/Batman comic read, so check that out. I just recently posted a clip on Batman Returns, crazy movie from Tim Burton's filmography. Of course, this is the scene where the Penguin die and we get his funeral, which is very sad. And this Sunday, 9:45 p.m. Eastern time, hopefully, maybe early time for our guests, maybe because they have Central Time. We're doing Scream 3. So please join us to be very Halloween festive. So me, Jeff, and a couple guests, hopefully, if they have their schedule clear for Sunday, we'll discuss this, sort of send off of the proper trilogy of Scream. And shorts, I did a short on Evil Dead 2, say groovy, iconic line, and I will do a review of Evil Dead 2 tonight, and for the October 18th. Plus, please check out my other podcast with other my guest roles. And recently I joined with Franchise Addicts for a two-parter where I talked about firstly the Evil Dead 2 movie, and then we just randomly talked about movies and how we rank our favorite movies from directors we like. So please check out their channel and my guest role there. Last Tuesday I did with Luke, who we did a crab with one of the episodes we did with Peacemaker. So yeah, that's where I'm all at. And please support me in Cyber and the AMC Bleeding Edge so we can grow even more.
Okay. Speaking of which, Cyberneticshark, sir, go ahead.
All right, folks. So if you enjoyed me as a moderator on here, or if you enjoy me on the panel, you can check out my solo content. You'll find me under Cyberneticshark. You'll find it on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, Patreon, pretty much anywhere a social media platform is. And of course, my most recent trailer reaction is for the upcoming Anaconda, which it looks absolutely freaking hilarious. I love the concept of them making a reboot of that 1997 Anaconda film as a comedy, along with Jack Black and Paul Rudd. Check out that trailer. If you have not seen it, check out that trailer reaction. It's really fun and enjoyable. My most recent, of course, mini reviews, I believe, if I remember correctly, are still a couple recent newer films that I saw on Shudder. If you haven't seen either of those, check those out as well. Of course, Night of the Reaper, which is really good. I think it's probably one of the Shudder's best original films, and just all around a really great film. If you haven't seen Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, it's on Peacock. Don't recommend it, but definitely check out that mini review of it and why that is. Check out my Screenboat one too as well, which is a fun one to do. But yeah, I'll have more stuff up for you guys in future soon. Fortunately, been really busy trying to make money, so some content will be shorter than it usually is, but I'll be keeping you posted on when we get more material. So keep your eyes out for all that good stuff. And just thank you to all the supporters out there. Thank you very much. Keep helping us grow, me and Andres and the MC's Bleeding Edge. Bleeding Edge appreciates you guys watching us. You guys are rocking it. And yeah, we appreciate you guys.
There you go. And we'll be back. Andres and I will be back on Monday night for Daryl Dixon, episode 7, season 3. Appreciate Cyber doing a great job tonight moderating. Andres, the pop culture guy, great job on the panel tonight. And folks, we're out of here for Enemy of the